So in case you guys didn't know, Bobby Kotick, the CEO of Activision Blizzard, is no longer working at the company. He was there for a stretch of 32 years, and now he's no longer there. This is, of course, because of the merger with Microsoft, so it looks like there's no reason for Bobby to be there anymore. So with this video, I thought it would be kind of fun and interesting to just go over the news surrounding him leaving, as well as some of the really crazy things that he was accused of, and then we'll end this video with some sentiments and remarks of employees at Blizzard, because spoiler alert, they hate him, and they are not shy about this fact. So I thought a good place to start would be the beginning of Bobby's journey. So he became the CEO of Activision just 12 years after the company was founded, and that was back in 1979. So he's been around for a while, and he's been the CEO of the company for a really long time. So that means he's been around for a lot of really successful things like, Call of Duty, Guitar Hero, the rise and fall of Toys to Life, Activision's merger with Vivendi to become Activision Blizzard, and then of course the acquisition of Candy Crush, and then ultimately Microsoft's acquisition of his company. The only difference here is that he's not going to be around after this final one. And if you look past all the shitty things that he's done or said, and just all of the really bad stuff, he's actually been a really successful CEO, and I think the stockholders absolutely love him. That's why he's been just getting millions upon millions of dollars in raises and bonuses throughout his careers, because he's good at his job. Shitty human being, but again, good at his job. So with him leaving, he put out an email to the company and all of the employees, and the email kind of just reads as a way for him to reflect his time at Activision and all the things that he's done there. And it's just really one of those kind of ways for him to pat himself on the back on the way out. And either way, we're not going to read this letter because it's just kind of boring in my opinion. But either way, he's gone now, so hopefully the company will be in a lot better spot without him there. And aside from being a super cutthroat and just greedy capitalistic CEO, there's a lot of really bad rumors surrounding this guy. So allegedly, and yes, I'm gonna say allegedly here because I did not want to get sued by anybody, but allegedly his name is in Jeffrey Epstein's book. That guy who had that island with the Lolita Express. Let's see, another one is that Kotick's first company, Arconyx, sought to produce a tool to make the Apple II computer easier for non-tech savvy people, and Kotick and his business partner asked their employees to forego portions of their salaries in exchange for stock options. And what do you think happened? Obviously, those stock options, as well as the company as a whole, ultimately became useless because of some later Apple products, which basically rendered all of their products completely worthless. Those former Arconyx employees ended up suing Kotick for being cheated out of their wages back in 1985, and the company and the employees eventually settled, but Kotick and Arconyx delayed payments for years, and some former employees even alleged that they never ever received a portion of the settlement. And then there's the story of the flight attendant. So he had a flight attendant on one of his private jets that she sued him, and the alleged reason was that he fired her over complaining about sexual harassment from another worker on the job. And in the ensuing case, Kotick's lawyers engaged in brutal, even cruel tactics against the plaintiff. And this one's kind of wild, so not to get too personal, but apparently that flight attendant mentioned during a deposition that she had an abortion, and Kotick's attorneys argued in court filings that her ex-boyfriend should have to answer questions about it during a deposition, and that they should be able to provide evidence of the abortion at the trial. And this isn't even the tip of the iceberg as far as all of the crazy shit and just evil stuff that is surrounding this guy. And then there's of course the story about Kotick threatening to have one of his assistants killed. He even apologized about some allegations, including this one, in a voicemail, but he still denied a bunch of other shit. So as you can see, this guy is clearly a terrible person, and it seems like all of the former employees are now starting to speak out against him now that he's no longer at the company. On X, formerly known as Twitter, a former Call of Duty programmer at Demonware, Christina Pollock, broke the silence after Kotick's final day as a CEO, alleging that the FPS games came out worse due to his decisions. It says here in quotes, "In my first month, it came out he threatened to have an employee killed," Christina had, which was the story we mentioned earlier. "In the all hands that followed, no one wanted to speak first, so I demanded his firing in front of everyone." Another employee, Andy Belford, who is a community development manager, had this to say: "Moderation of Steam was put on the community team, not a function of the community at Blizz. Despite my refusal to want to expose members of my team to that level of toxic content/posts. When asked whose decision it was to launch on Steam with no additional help, Bobby." This is only one example of the culture Kotick bred at AB. Shit flowed downstream, usually landing on the lowest paid and most overworked individuals. Management was too busy reacting to wildly vacillating direction and decisions that made zero sense. At the end of everything, player experience/worker meant nothing to CS Suit and X leadership. It was all about the quarter's earnings calls. And not to defend Bobby here in this situation, but as far as Overwatch being on Steam and all those negative ratings and just comments on the game in general, that's not Bobby's fault. Those are there because the game is bad and lots of people were pissed off because they were lied to. And then this last one I wanted to highlight is from a actual senior World of Warcraft designer. And he says, quote, "Eat shit, Bobby Kotick, you pathetic ghoul. Waste the millions you didn't earn from people whose talent and light you will never understand." Oof. So clearly a lot of people are getting some things off their chest that they, obviously couldn't say before because, it's not smart to talk shit about your boss while he's still there, because that's a quick way to get fired. And granted, I still think it's kind of risky to say these things out in the public, even when the guy is no longer there, because you never know how many higher-ups are still friends with him. So at the end of the day, Bobby is gone, right? And it looks like all of the people that are, in leadership positions at the various companies like Blizzard, Infinity Ward, all the different Call of Duty studios, Candy Crush, all of those guys, they're all now directly answering to Microsoft and Phil Spencer. And one thing I really do like about Phil Spencer is, I don't have the actual quote because I couldn't find it. I don't remember who said this exactly. It could have been Mike Ibarra, I'm not sure. But basically they said that as far as, working at their company and making decisions, Phil literally just told him, like, hey, just make your game. And that's awesome to hear. So anyways, that is where we're going to call it for today. If you guys enjoyed this video, let me know by leaving a like and subscribe to the channel. But you know what I would really like is to hear what you guys' thoughts are on this whole situation. Let me know in the comments section what you guys think about the departure of Bobby from Blizzard and just Activision in general, because I think this is a really interesting topic. Thank you so much for watching my video. I'm StillSolo, and I'll see you guys in the next one.